Hi, my name is Aiala Levy, and I'm a PhD candidate in history. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking to you about how I've been using Twitter in my discussion-based classroom to encourage active reading. So what do I mean by active reading? Well, I mean that as students are reading course texts on their own, they're comprehending the reading, they're interpreting it, they're questioning it, they're applying the reading to other aspects of their lives or other questions in the course, other readings, and that they're also interacting with each other. So how does this work? Well, first of all, you have to get everyone on Twitter. So you have to make sure that everyone signs up for a handle, a Twitter handle, that's the username, and that you list those handles somewhere where everyone in the class can have access to it so that they know who they are. You also need to create a common and unique hashtag. That means a label that everybody will be using in their tweets so that you can easily compile those tweets and track them. For my class, for example, we used the £, which is the hashtag, H29646. That was really the only option that we had. You also need to establish clear-ish guidelines. So that means you need to set a level of quality for the tweets, make sure that they're respectful, that they have some depth in their analysis and clarity, that they make reference to the readings, whether that's page number or author. You need to establish the quantity of tweets per week, so we decided on 10 to 20. You also need to decide what the content will be. We chose to ask questions of the readings and also to post comments, so it was a pretty open guidelines in that terms. I also really encourage students to reply to each other's tweets. You can use the reply link or the @ in order to make that happen. Finally, you need to establish what percentage of the course grade the tweets are going to count for. So for my class, it was 10%, and that 10% was based on whether they participated within the guidelines or not. In the slide, there's an example of how the tweets work, and you can see a conversation in which one student posted a question. I interjected, so I answered her question. Another student joined in, and then it turned into a conversation with multiple students and myself. So what does this give students? Well, first of all, it allows them to respond to the readings in real time, so they're really motivated to be engaged throughout the reading process. Tweets are also really short, so they can react to different aspects of the reading and really imitate the conversation setting that you will want to foster in your classroom without putting pressure on shy students to speak at the moment and think on the spot. In that sense, tweets are also really interactive, so students can easily read and reply to others and follow the conversation in an intuitive format. Also, tweets help make the course material really relevant. So students can link to other online media as well as other hashtags, and so really contextualize in the real world what they're doing for class. Finally, because tweets are public and they're graded, the students know that their classmates and you are also reading and reacting, so there is a level of thoughtfulness to the tweets. And all of this really helps generate a spirit of discussion, get students excited for class so that when you get into the classroom, you're already ready to go for a great discussion. So the pros for the instructor. Twitter allows instructors to evaluate the learning, to assess what and how students are reading, have they been doing all the readings, what's generating confusion, what's generating excitement. It allows the instructor to interact, to really join the conversation in the student's reading process, to encourage the conversation and guide it if necessary, but within reason. And finally, it allows instructors to save time. So for example, I don't have to read paragraphs of responses at the last minute. It's really technologically simple, and it's easy to search as well. There are some limitations to Twitter, though. So first of all, my class was only 8 people. I'm not sure how this would work for a much larger class. Maybe you could break the hashtags into smaller groups, require fewer tweets. It's something that would make it easier to keep track of what students are doing. The other thing about Twitter is it doesn't teach writing, so the tweeting for active reading needs to be complemented by more in-depth writing assignments. So for example, in my class, I assigned 2 two-page reading response papers, and I also had students write occasionally in class about what the author's main arguments and questions were. There might also be the issue of privacy for some students. In that case, some students did create separate accounts in which they were able to protect their tweets, so only approved followers could follow what they were tweeting. And then I think for me the biggest issue, which I learned along the way, was that there's no good way of archiving tweets, of keeping track of all these old tweets, unless you do it as you go along. So you can use free online sites like Storify or Twubs, I think it's pronounced, in order to archive the tweets so that you can find them all at the end of the course if that's something that you want to do. But you do need to do this throughout the quarter. All right, that's it. Thank you very much.